just got back from Arizona and I'm starved for some fishing, so driving out with the older dog, we're headed over Vail Pass where there's still lots of snow. Got up into Rocky Mountain National Park and taking a look at the far upper Colorado. It looks very benign, but in reality was probably running twice as fast as it is for good fishing. All that aside, I started throwing nymphs anyway. Finally hooked a little brown on a big black stone. That was pretty much it for the upper Colorado. We drove back down to the base of the Shadow Mountain Reservoir and walked up this goofy looking pump canal between that lake and Lake Granby. It's really ugly looking still water, but I threw streamers walking up and down the bank and had surprisingly good success on rainbows from 12 to 15 inches. May have released a dozen fish or so in the couple of hours we spent here, and certainly it's worth going back to again. A better rig was a streamer with a small fly trailing it, and we used that to some success the following morning. After some fun on the canal, the dog and I walked out to the dam and took a look at the so-called tailwater flowing from Shadow Mountain to Granby, where apparently they turn around and pump the water right back upstream. I don't understand it, but I'm sure there's some logic somewhere. We walked down to this tailwater, quote unquote, about a mile below the dam and tried to fish it, but it was extremely difficult. Nymphing wouldn't work at all. Eventually I caught a couple of nice rainbows, one of them on a black and grizzly marabugger. This one looks small, but it actually was around 16 inches in length. Then we popped back in the car, drove along the highway toward the Granby Dam. We're passing by a place we normally would put the kayak in, but today drove further along the dam and put it in at a picnic area halfway across that facility. Dragging the kayak into the water, we had very modest success at first with the fishing. We're trolling fairly shallowly along the shore and across the face of the dam. Had lots and lots of strikes, but very few hookups at first. When the water got much rougher due to an approaching thunderstorm, all of a sudden the fish got more aggressive too, and they seemed to self-attach as opposed to my having to hook them. Here are a couple of the nice little rainbows we picked up today and were able to release. They were fairly feisty, but also fairly small. The winds finally got too strong for our little paddlecraft, so we packed up and put the kayak on the top and headed back down the Colorado. Here I'm walking down to a favorite little corner bend on the Colorado River in Hot Sulphur Springs. The river's really running way too high for successful fishing, but I did manage to catch a very, very feisty 13-inch brown here. Getting close to the end of our trip, we went back off on US 40 West, turned off at Partial, and headed up to Williams Fork Reservoir. I'm casting from the road, watching two fellows up to their chests in muck. So it turned out to be fun for me and probably not for them, as I was able to hook and release a couple of nice little pike, one about 2 feet long, the other about 18 inches. Both of them took a gold-colored woolly bugger, and happily I had a little wire leader in front of both those flies. The pike were a nice ending to a decent trip here. We're off to Lake Powell next week, and we'll hope for some more fun down there as well.